Oh, what's up? Let me turn my do not disturb on right now. Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? It's Michael. Yeah. Welcome to Comics on Canes. First of all, I want to say thank you for all the love and support. We're about 1,500 subscribers. We're at 1,520. Hopefully by the end of this podcast, we get to 1,530. Who knows? Who knows? We trying. We trying. We're doing great. Man, let me tell you, I love all the love from this community. It really means a lot. We are live. Gio Milon is going to be on the show. Yes, we'll be talking about Xavier Lucas getting Gio's point of view because, hey, what's up? 818 Cali Kane. Thanks for always supporting 818 Cali Kane. Appreciate you. We're going to get Gio Milon on because we talked about Xavier Lucas a little bit yesterday, but I want to get his take. Also, I want to get a take on the mood of the people he's talking to, like recruits about Miami, since this, I guess you could say scandal, but it's not really a scandal if you're a Miami fan. It just is what it is. You know, our whole take is watch your mom, watch your dad, watch your kids. We snatching everybody. We taking recruits, baby. That's what we do at Miami because it's all about the you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Can't wait till Gio comes on. Also, I want to talk about recruits. You know, Derek Cooper getting a lot of buzz. Derek Cooper is getting a lot of buzz, and it looks like he wants to come to Miami. There are some other big schools that are trying to get him, but I'm hearing comparisons to Travis Hunter. I don't know. I've never seen him play yet. I haven't watched this film yet, but people say the only comparison is he can go both ways. So we'll talk to Gio to see what they think they're going to put him at a safety or a running back. We'll find out about that. What's up, playing time? Dude, that's what's up. That's what's up. We snatching players. We snatching players. That's what we do at Miami. We don't care. We don't care. Oh, also, thank you for all the super chats, man. It means a lot. Hey, playing time. Thanks for checking in. We can't miss on Cooper. All right. I talked about this yesterday. I got a problem with grown men. Me and Vanessa, I got a problem with grown men whining about Jeremiah Smith. Look, phenomenal player. Could be the first pick in the draft when he comes out. But he gone. He gone. To see grown men be like, oh, I'm so sad, Jeremiah Smith. Blah, 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 blah. Shut up. Stop being a biatch. You acting like a biatch right now. You know what I'm saying? A biatch right now. He gone. And I made a prediction. I think after he won the chip this year, they ain't going to win it next year. I think Miami in 2026, when they open up in Las Vegas where I live down the street, I'm going to throw a big Comics on Canes party. We're going to do a stand-up show. It's going to be off the chain. Just wait. I have 2 years of playing this thing. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Dude, I'm going to throw the biggest party in Vegas for that game. We kick off against Utah. But I will tell you this. If we're in the position where it looks like we have a great team to win that national championship, I think he comes home. A lot of people say, why would he come home? How dope is that? You would win one for Ohio State and you come home and win a chip for Miami or help win a chip for Miami? Bro, that's huge. That's huge. We can't miss on Cooper. I agree. I don't know much about the dude. I just know like he's getting a lot of hype. He can play both ways. So let me ask you, Derek Jimenez, do you see him at a safety or a running back, or do you think Miami will let him play both? Talk to me. Talk to me, Derek Jimenez. Ooh, plank time. Whoop, 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 whoop. That's the sound of the police. Whoop, whoop. That's the sound of the beast. Playing time with $50, man. I appreciate. Oh, by the way, yes. I got a brand new comedy special coming out on my YouTube page. Not this one. This is my Comics on Canes page. But thank you, Plank Time. That shows me a lot of love right there. And this money will go towards that special to help pay for that and help pay for this show. But Plank Time, let me tell you, the new special is called Snack Daddy. It's coming out on my other YouTube page that has over 200,000 people on it, or like close to 200,000. And man, I self-funded it. I put it out. All my projects, I don't let anybody own them. I spend my money. If I lose money, I lose money, but I lose money doing stuff I love. And that's what I tell all the Miami fans, man. You're going to do something you love. Spend a little money. Take a risk. Just don't be dumb about it, Hey, Playing Time, that means so much. Thank you so much, Playing Time. Let's see. Rodney P, Vegas, stand up. Dude. Oh, you a Vegas Kane, Rodney P? Oh, my goodness. I live in Vegas. Rodney P, there's no place in Vegas where Canes fans get together. And I travel let me tell you, for this next football season, Rodney P, I would find a place and start throwing Cane parties. But the problem is I'm not in town. I'm always touring on the weekend. So that's not going to work. But I will be in town for the opening Utah game, and I'm throwing a massive party. It's going to be a stand-up show with legends from the Miami Hurricanes. We're going to do a Comics on Canes podcast. I'm going to have big comedians coming in. It's going to be awesome, man. I can't wait. I think I'm going to team up with Gio on it too. He don't know that yet, but I am. Before Gio gets on, I want to throw out a question to you guys. And Plank Town, one more time, man. Thank you so much for the love, man. Thank you so much, Plank. Where you go? Thank you so much for that. That means a lot. And thank you for everybody else. Don't have to be $50. It could be $1. Thank you for all the super chats. All right. I want to ask you right there. Oh, Malik, I see your Malik Savage. I see your comment. I'm going to get to you in a second. I want to ask you this. Since our team didn't make it to the college playoffs, but regardless, did you think it just lasted too long? I felt, and I don't know if it's different if your team is in the playoffs, but it just seemed to me that this thing went on forever. Instead of 12 teams, man, I think it should be 8. Am I wrong in saying it just seemed like it took forever to get a champion? And by the time they got a champion, I wasn't even interested anymore. Like literally, I missed the first half of the game because I didn't even care. First of all, it's 2 teams I absolutely hate. Let's be honest about that. Even though I do like Marcus Freeman, he had black and Korean like me. Ooh, you know how we do. Blasian. That's the only reason I like him. And by the way, I'm trying to get an interview with Marcus Freeman because he's black and Korean. I would love to talk about, because when I looked up his parents look like my parents, except his dad's a little bit darker skin. Now, I do not like Notre Dame, but what I picture is me interviewing Marcus Freeman, having a great conversation about growing up and stuff. And at the end, I'm going to say, and I'm going to tell you, Canes fan, what I'm going to say at the end of the podcast when I interview him. I'm going to say, hey, man, I wish you all the luck in the world, except whatever that day our game is. And I say, throw it up, Marcus. Throw it there. Say, go Canes, and throw it up. Throw it up. He's not, but I think it'd be absolutely hilarious. Anyway, so I want to get your take about that first before Gio Milon is going to jump on. Do you think the playoffs just lasted way too long? Would you rather 8 teams than 12 teams? Man, I was so over it by the time the championship game happened. And I know it's different if your team is in it. Maybe. I don't know. All right, let me go to y'all. For sure, 8. Yep. Everybody's make it 8. Wait, Anthony, read my last okay, Anthony. Mike, I can totally understand why JJ went to Ohio State looking at the amount of receivers they developed. Oh, 100%, Anthony. 100%, Anthony. I'm there. But right now, Anthony, I want to know your take about 8 or 12 teams make the playoffs. It just lasted too long. 8, Rich Andrews. I never read your name before, but thank you for checking in. If this is your first time, hit that subscribe button. Really appreciate it. Make it 8 for sure or less. Anthony, I think the 12 team, Mike was more about the money, and they're already they're trying to expand it to 16. I know they're about the money, but man, if your team ain't in it, that's 4 rounds, bro. You got to watch it. And after the second round, I wasn't even invested anymore. Maybe I'm the only one. And here's the thing. I love college football, but it's just like, oh my God, we're playing football in February. I don't know. All right. What do we got? Jimmy Jam. What's up, Jimmy Jam? CFP, space it out too. Yeah, they could tighten it up. But the problem with tightening it up, these players, I mean, that's a lot of games, bro. Especially if you're that in that first round. You can't play 4 back-to-back weekends. That's just not fair. Like, that's a brutal beating on the body. So I understand the spacing out, but man, I don't know what they can do. I think they need to cut it down rather than expand to 16. They need to make it 8. Repping the Korean pride, baby. Annyeonghaseyo, chinmario, kamsamida. You know Korean. You know what I'm talking about. Look at this, Joy Canes. No to what? I've said a bunch of stuff, Joy. What you saying no to? What you saying no to, Joy? I need to know some context here, girl. All right. Another Canes fan here. Oh, Dude, we got that's 2 Kane fans that live in Las Vegas. We got 3. We can find about 20 more. I tell you, we're going to start throwing some watch parties. We can find about 20 more Kane fans, and y'all all show up. Don't have me sitting in a bar by myself looking depressed. Just, they'll be like, your friends coming? I'm like, yeah, they coming. They coming. Uh-huh. Don't have me looking ignorant in a bar like that. We need 20 more. 20 more Kane fans. 8. Yeah, I believe that. Rodney P. I think the championship game took too long to get to. I almost forgot. That's what I'm saying. Dude, I remembered about the game when I already left the house. I was like, oh, yeah, there's a championship game. It just took forever, man. Keep it 12. I'm waiting for Gio Milon to check in. We got, hey, Gio running late. Hold on one second. Gio, tap in. Where you at, son? Because I got some questions for Gio. I could ask y'all the questions first, and then we can get his take if y'all want to do that. Because I wanted to know, wait. I said it from the beginning. Texas and Penn State should have been in the Final Four. Arizona State and Boise should have been going up against Clemson. Let me tell you something. This is what I did like about the playoffs, though. Look, we hate Notre Dame. We hate Ohio State. But can we all be on the same page and say those teams would have never made the playoffs? Like, if it was 4 teams, they would have never made it in because of some early losses. And those are the 2 teams that were in the finals. So what I do like about this situation, the only thing I like about the 12 teams, it shows that you can slip up in the beginning of the year. You can't slip up at the end of the year. That's the problem. You can slip up a game, maybe 2 games here and there, but that doesn't mean you're not the best team at the moment at the end of the season. So it takes the pressure off a little bit off players, but not a lot. Like in the NFL, man, like they screw up all the time, but yet they still playing. They can go to the Super Bowl. So I think this kind of balances it out. It evens it up a little bit where, like, let's say Miami. Yeah. And also one more time, big shout outs to Playing Time for that big 50 spot. Let me put them up there one more time. Big shout outs to you, Playing Time. Thank you so much. Throwing in that super chat, that means a lot. That helps support the station. But for instance, hypothetically speaking, and personally, I think we're going to beat Notre Dame. But let's say we slip up to Notre Dame, because I will never say we're going to slip up to Florida. We ain't losing to Florida. With all the hype about Lagway, the dude that only throws 150 yards per game, nah, we ain't losing to him. No. Anyway, say we slip up to Notre Dame, even though I think we're going to win. I mean, all right, beginning of the season, that doesn't take you out of the playoffs. And that's what's good. That's what's good about it. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's go to Jimmy Jam. Let's get in the okay. Let's talk about the conference championship real quick. What do y'all expect from Carson Beck? I'm gonna say this question, and I want y'all to hit up the comments, because this podcast, if Gio don't pop in, it's just me and you. It's just me and y'all. All right. If Gio don't pop in, it's just us. So I'll just ask you the questions I was going to ask Gio. What do you really expect from Carson Beck from Miami? Let me tell you what I expect, and then I'll start reading your comments. All right. I don't expect much, but that doesn't mean he's going to be bad. Look, we all know he's not Cam Ward, and great, fine. Nobody's Cam Ward. 1-on-1, we get it. He's gone. I just expect Carson Beck to be solid. Oh, we got Gio right now. Let me throw him in. Let me throw Gio in. Gio!
Hey, what's up?
What's up, man?
How's everyone doing?
Throw this little panel up there real quick. Hang on one second. Make it look pretty. There we go. Gio Milon. I just asked the question. We got a lot of people checking out the pod. A lot of comments coming in. What do you expect from Carson Beck?
Well, I think he's the best quarterback returning in the country out of any players that are coming back at that position. I think it's reasonable to see why not. Why can't Miami have a repeat season where they win double-digit games? It'll be the first time to happen since we're talking about 2002, 2003, so it's been a long time.
Okay, let me tell you what I expect, Gio. I don't expect much. And that's okay. Because not much to me is him doing exactly what he did in Georgia, take away six turnovers. Throw for 3,500 yards. Give me, instead of 25 touchdowns, give me 31 touchdowns. You know, you're not going to have 67 drop passes. So I just want him to do, even though we say he had a not great year at Georgia, do that at Miami. We win another 9 or 10 games, and we could be in the playoffs. That's what I expect.
Here's the thing, though. There's a little bit of discourse about the type of season that Carson Beck had with Georgia this past year. I think even from the Miami's fans, their perspective of him. Let's put this all in perspective now. Carson Beck in the season he just had would be the second best statistical season as a quarterback at the University of Miami, right behind Cam Ward. And he had an off season, not as good as his prior year. So come on.
I know. So everybody talking noise about Carson Beck. It was like, yo, just be Carson Beck. Just do you, and we're gonna be fine, man. Like we got the running backs, and I don't care what anybody says. We may need a couple receivers with experience, but I don't care what people say, man. I think we let those young dudes shine that are already at Miami, the Nycars, the JoJos, let them shine, because sometimes there are some amazing players that just pop out of nowhere, and I think Miami got a bunch of those that are ready to shine.
Yeah, well, there's also the saying that at a certain point you have to play the guys that you recruited to, and I think we're going to see more of that from Miami this year. Obviously, they'll fill some spots with some plug-and-play guys. I still expect them to at least get one more receiver minimum from the transfer portal, get a depth running back piece, possibly another offensive lineman for rotation. They're strongly considering taking another defensive lineman after the spring, like when the spring portal window opens up. If a big-time guy comes in, they'll go after him.
So Carson Beck, we talked about that. I think we're going to have we'll take a couple receivers. Defense, like our defensive line is going to be strong. I think our linebackers, I don't know if they're going to be better, but I know they'll be a lot faster, and which will make them better. And that secondary, man, with Xavier Lucas popping in, I mean, it's strong. What's your take on the secondary, Gio?
I think the secondary, they've basically flipped it almost overnight, if you really think about it. Charles Brantley from Michigan State, very good chance that he is Miami's nickel cornerback this upcoming season. You got O.J. Frederick returning after a freshman All-American season. Damari Brown, even, obviously he's got to get healthy and whatnot, but he's flashed a bit when he's been healthy at Miami. We'll see if he takes the next step this offseason. Or me personally, I think the biggest addition of all those DBs, obviously everyone's really excited about Ethan O'Connor as well. Emmanuel Carnley has a lot of upside too, but I think the guy that, if you asked me who can make a really big impact, especially watching how that safety play was and how dreadful it really was just throughout the 2024 season, Zachariah Poyser. I think if he can give Miami just bare minimum solid play, because there's a lot of people that are super high on him, but if he could just give bare minimum, just fundamental solid play, Miami's going to improve a lot on the back end.
And this is my take. Miami lost because of the defense. I mean, it was everything, but let's say that back, the defensive back, letting receivers run wild, tight ends outrunning your fastest defensive back, which was pathetic. But what I'm saying is, if Carson Beck's offense is 2/3 of what Miami was, like I said, just do 3,500. What Cam Ward have? 4,400 yards passing or something like that?
Pretty close to it, yeah.
Do 3,500, 3,600. Don't turn over the ball that much. And I think the defense is going to be in a lot better position. We're not going to score like we scored last time, but maybe let's take 5 or 6 points off that. What was our average? Like 36 points a game?
Yeah.
Something like that, right?
Wait, are you talking about near the end of the season or just throughout the entire season?
Throughout the entire year, our season average.
Oh, no, they were up in the 40s.
40s?
Yeah, like historical type numbers for Miami.
So let's say we do 35 per game. With that defense, the upgrades, I think we'll be good, man. Like I'm actually excited. Like before Carson Beck wasn't excited. but I saw these defensive backs. I see the movement of Mario. I always remind myself, I always look back 2-3 years ago at the trenches before, just to remind myself how far we've come and go, all right, we're good. We're good. We're good.
Yeah, well, I think what happens sometimes, I'm not saying you, Mike, but there is Miami fans out there that when things are not happening right away, they will act like the sky is falling. They're like,
Oh,
"Oh, what is Mario doing? We're gonna be awful, this and that." And hey, Mike, you even preached it. One of the last times I was on here with you, you were telling people, you're like, "Hey, I don't think Miami would just be sitting calm like this unless they knew they had a plan at the quarterback
yep.
position." And hey, I was saying it since the season ended. I said, "Look, they're monitoring the college football playoff. Just be patient. Let's see how it
Now,
all works out."
Gio, since we know Carson Beck's the guy, it's signed, sealed, delivered. Did you know? When did you know before? And if you did, how long before did you know?
Okay, well, I did not know right away that he was going to go to Miami. Like, even, all right, so when he first declared for the NFL and whatnot, I did not have an inkling at the time that it was surefire going to be him. I knew and I was well aware that they were looking at college football playoff scenarios, like guys like Quinn Ewers, who he was still kind of on the fence whether he was going to go or come back. Carson Beck was another one of those guys I mentioned. And another scenario that not many people talk about, but Nico Ayamelava from Tennessee, there was a lot of chatter that he was considering entering the transfer portal too. He wasn't too happy with how the system is there with the Volunteers and Josh Heupel and whatnot. We'll see how they get it going next year, and their
Why
offense.
wouldn't he? I mean, he had a solid season, didn't he? Or no?
Yeah, but for the hype that Nico had
Yeah.
coming out of high school, like Mike, I'm telling you, I've seen this kid play live in person about 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
His arm talent just impeccable, but it just hasn't completely translated to the college football level yet. So I'll be honest, I was kind of surprised with his performance this year too. I thought he would have been better.
Wow. Okay. Anthony Manzano says, Mike, I'm thinking with Carson, you're going to see more 5 receivers set with 3 slots and 2 boundaries. What's your take on that, Gio?
Yeah, well, Carson Beck definitely loves throwing to the tight end. So guys like Elijah Lofton and Alex Bowman, who just came in from Tulane, they got to be grinning from ear to ear right now
Yep.
because they're going to get a lot of passes and targets their way. Someone even mentioned in the comments right before that one about Josiah Trader. I think JoJo Trader is ready to break out. Actually, he would have had a bigger role in Miami's offense this past season, but
He was
he had
hurt.
an injury during
Yeah.
fall camp, kind of held him back a bit. He was finally healthy for the bowl game, and everyone saw the flashes.
Yeah, man. I'm excited about our young receivers because that's why you recruit them. I'm excited. And what's your take on a big receiver? I know I jumped on your podcast and kind of commented, and we talked about KC Concepcion. I really honestly believe, and this is my take, and I have no proof, he committed right after Emory played the next day. He saw what Emory did, and the next day he commits to A&M. I really believe we were probably in the game for him against A&M. Now, I don't know. You know more than me. So let me say what I think, and then you can tell me if I'm wrong. He went to A&M, got Carson Beck. He's going to go through spring. I mean, I just think he could come back because I think he really wanted to go to Miami. Because how would you want to go to A&M? You know what I mean?
I know there's people around Miami that, well before he ever hit the transfer portal, that they absolutely loved him as a player. Like even the chatter just from booster lunches to private
Yeah.
events and whatnot, everyone was like, "Man, we'd love to have that guy here." I will say though, I was a little surprised that it ended up being Texas A&M. Alabama had a lot of momentum going into his transfer portal recruitment. A crazy thing, guys are getting recruited like 2 or 3 times nowadays.
Yep.
But Alabama had a lot of momentum, even more so right after his official visit there. Took a couple other visits. I know Colorado was also in the mix too. But Miami felt good at one point about their chances. They thought they were right in it there with Alabama. Texas A&M kind of just swooped in like with that last visit. Like that kind of surprised me.
Do you think it was was it a straight money play, you think?
Yeah, well, I mean, Texas A&M is there's no hiding it there that they compensate generously for players in the transfer portal or even high school recruits in the past few years. But Miami was very much willing and ready to do what it would have what's the word I'm looking for? Would have taken
right? Yeah.
To try to land KC Concepcion. Obviously, you know, it sucks the situation that you didn't have Beck right away. I'm sure it helps out in some scenarios. There are some guys they passed on too, but like for example, Zachariah Branch, he wasn't really a priority guy. I mentioned this to people until basically Miami had to move on from Concepcion. Miami was really in on Concepcion.
Well,
they passed on Eric Rivers from FIU because they wanted Concepcion.
So they must have had a shot. They wouldn't have done that if they didn't have a shot.
They had a shot. They felt good about their chances. I'm just being honest, though. I'm surprised that he went with A&M. I thought if it wasn't Miami, it was going to be Alabama.
So, but Alabama doesn't have a quarterback. Miami didn't have a quarterback at that time. And it was like, I'm going to go to a place with at least a returning quarterback. I don't know A&M. Don't they have a returning quarterback?
Yeah, Marcel Reed.
Yeah, so it's kind of like he went to the place that has a quarterback coming back.
Yeah, can't blame guys, but there's also the spring portal window. I'll remind people.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Tyler Barron, around this time last year, he had transferred to Louisville, and then right after spring was over, he was like, "All right, I'm back in the portal."
So, if you had to guess one name, because I know it's just rumors, the one receiver that's going to come to Miami after the spring portal, or during the spring portal, who's that one guy you think? If you just had to guess, just pick a name.
There's been a lot of chatter about the Clemson wide receiver TJ Moore. I know, just dating back to his recruitment when he was coming out of high school, I thought he was pretty close in talent. Like maybe not as good as Jeremiah Smith, but I thought he was like right there in like competitiveness level, like from 7-on-7s I would watch at those events. TJ Moore was really good, really good. I know he really liked Miami at one point. I know his parents were really big fans of Miami at one point too. I believe overheard something that the father grew up a Miami fan too. Things kind of went to the wayside there. I don't know exactly what happened with his recruiting process. It was weird and strange. Miami was in it, and then they were kind of not and kind of backed off of him. But I've heard chatter about him, TJ Moore for Clemson. We'll see if that actually materializes and whatnot. There's a lot of things that happen. And so much could happen between now and
I hear you. Here's a question for you, Gio. I think we're playing 3 safeties and 2 corners, not 3 corners and 2 safeties. What's your take?
Yeah, well, I think what you could see is a guy like Xavier Lucas. He could play both cornerback and safety, a lot of free safety actually too. I think you can have basically chess pieces on that back end where, you know, maybe you want to slide in a safety at the nickel spot on certain downs or like obvious run downs and whatnot. Bring in a bigger defender from that position that could still drop back in coverage and stick with his man.
Yeah.
I could definitely see many different scenarios and then just them getting very creative with it. I do know from watching Corey Heatherman's film with Minnesota and even Rutgers before that, I will say though, he definitely gives his defensive backs a lot of freedom. And what I mean by that is you see a lot of cover 3, guys being able to play in man, also run zone 2. It's not like he just sticks to one thing.
Oh, good.
He goes with what's the strength of his team and also based on matchups too. And I think that's a refreshing, I don't know if I want to say take or refreshing fact for fans.
Donnie Housley. First of all, Donnie Housley, this is my first time reading your name. So thank you. If you're a new subscriber, hit that subscribe button, or a new person checking out the podcast. He says that was the worst defense in his lifetime. He's talking about last year's. Been a fan since the 80s. Would you say it's the worst defense?
I don't know if I want to. Well, defensive backfield wise,
yeah, 100%.
It's worse than the ones that had Amari Carter and Gervin Hall. It's worse than the ones that had Casey Rogers and AJ Highsmith. I'm talking about some historically bad defensive backfields that Miami had. Overall defense, I don't know if I want to say if it's the absolute worst, because Al Golden had some putrid defenses. They were just very feast or famine. Like they would have like really big moments, and then like they were just god awful other times too. There was no in between, no middle ground.
Yeah. So you don't want to say worse, but it's pretty bad.
Yeah, I guess the word I'm looking for is very inconsistent. They really had no identity.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So with the Xavier Lucas drama, we all know it. We all, we got our opinion. They got their opinion. I have a question about what's the word with recruits? Do recruits really care about drama surrounding Miami's always looks like the bad guy, right? But do they really care about that drama? Because you're in the ears of a lot of recruits. You're in the industry. You talk to recruits. You talk to parents. You talk to coaches. You talk to contacts. Do players really care about that outside players?
To an extent, yes. I think more so just Xavier being a South Florida kid and the stunt. Let's be honest here. The stunt that Wisconsin pulled and basically trying to hold him hostage at the school and say, oh, no, you have to play for us. Even though the House settlement still hasn't passed and like it's crazy. Nothing has passed yet. Everything is still in the open air being figured out. Nothing's final and settled and finalized and all that good stuff. So, yeah, to an extent, could it affect South Florida guys with Wisconsin? Yeah, of course.
How about with Miami? Like, because Miami's in drama again.
No. I will say though, I've been wanting to say this for a long time. It is definitely odd the certain set of rules that Miami has to play by in recruiting compared to other teams, and even I'm talking down to like local politics and whatnot. It's insane what Mario has to deal with.
Isn't it funny that when John Ruiz, I think that's his name.
Ruiz.
When it first started, they had to have a job. Like that was the whole thing. These players had to have a job, and he had to supply jobs for these people. Now it's just by the player. Like jobs went out the window.
I'll give him credit on that because
he did. It's great.
I'll give him credit on that. And the reason why I'll say this is because at the time, really the way NIL was structured and the bylaws and the guideline, it was basically, you had to be doing some certain type of set of work or advertisement to be paid that money, like that NIL compensation. And there was a lot of schools that they weren't even doing that. They were like, all right, we're just going to give you the money. And there was absolutely no promotional stuff, no advertisement, no videos, no nothing from other schools. And, now we've just reached a point where it doesn't even really matter anymore.
But isn't that funny? The school they investigate is us when the other teams are just paying the players, and we had a system.
Right.
Isn't that weird? Isn't that funny how they picked Miami out of all the schools paying players? The team that actually has a system is the one that gets investigated.
Yeah.
It just makes me so angry. Let me ask you this. I hear this a lot from people on my timeline, in the comments. What is up with this rumor about Ryan Williams? Everybody's talking about Ryan Williams from Alabama coming to Miami. It was for the last 3 days I've been hearing about it. Is there any smoke to this? Is just no. Okay, I didn't think so.
That won't happen. I'd be shocked. Now, one I will answer, even though it hasn't come up in comments, but I know everyone has been talking about it nonstop since the national championship ended. Jeremiah Smith. So,
can I give you my theory? Hold on. Can I give you my theory real quick?
Go ahead.
And then you can answer your question. Jeremiah Smith won the national championship, won't win it next year. If Miami is in the spot where they could win a national championship with a great quarterback, and it looks like they're a strong team, he will come back like LeBron James and help Miami win that national championship. But everything has to be lined up perfectly. I really believe that could happen. All right. Do your take.
Yeah. I think that is definitely an interesting take. I do know that Ohio State is going to break the bank for him. Yeah. By the way, I mentioned this in a group chat a few days ago about Jeremiah Smith. I realized that just passing by his numbers as a freshman, the season he had this year, incredible just by the standards of the receivers that have come out of Ohio State and even also the receivers that have come out of Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Just to give perspective about the type of talent he is, his freshman year, by the numbers, is better than any single season by a Miami Hurricanes wide receiver in program history. Like, it's insane. Like, I made a joke.
Yeah.
I'm good friends with Amon Richards.
Yeah.
So I told guys in there, I'm like, man, there may be a chance that this guy could be better than Amon and Andre Johnson. And those two guys, they were like, those guys were
okay.
different tier of receiver.
But Gio, he played more games though.
Yeah.
Well, that's a bit. I mean, come on now. What, he played 2 or 3 more games?
Yeah, but he also I will say this.
Come on now. That's not apples to apples, man.
I think Jeremiah Smith is a future top 3 pick. Like it's set in stone, barring anything catastrophic. Like that guy's gonna be playing football
100%.
for a long time.
No, I'm not disrespecting. Look, he's a beast. But you can't compare all time when if a player played 12 games and he's playing 16 or whatever, you can't even compare that. Yeah, look, he's a beast. I think he's going to be the first round pick. He's one of those generational dudes. You know what I mean? It doesn't happen, but I wouldn't compare that. By the way, on this show, I was with Finesse Mitchell yesterday, and we call in Wisconsin the Drakers because they acting really like Drake right now, crying a lot, whining about. Joshua Leonard, I'm out here in Atlanta. High school close by, and just signed Ed Reed. So I'm gonna pull up on him, the coach. Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe one day. But all these people throwing out ex-Miami Hurricane players for coaches, stop. Unless they have experience, stop. That's ridiculous, man. Just because they play well doesn't mean they can coach well.
Yeah, there's actually been a proven theory on that a lot of former great players, they don't end up to be great coaches. That doesn't really happen that often.
All right. Here's one for you. Gio, can you explain how the Big Ten in Wisconsin justified saying he signed a revenue share agreement when the revenue sharing law hasn't even been passed for college football?
Well, here's the thing. Basically, what Wisconsin and the Big Ten were doing is just making a whole big fuss just to make a big fuss because in reality, at the end of the day, nothing's going to happen. Number 2, if Wisconsin wants to pursue something legally, there's really no gains or ground for it. There's no remedy to it either. There's nothing they're going to get out of it, really. What the worst case scenario? Let's say if they could prove somehow that Miami tampered, which they did not. Miami at most would get just a slap on the wrist.
Yep.
And the reality is, let's call a spade a spade. I'm going to say this right now for anyone that's not aware. There's this term we have in the recruiting world that's called back channeling. And there's nothing in the rule book that says that that a team can't speak to someone's agent or someone's former coach or any of that. A lot of teams do this. This is how they get to find out information like, hey, like, this guy's considering going in the transfer portal. He really likes your school. Like, Mike, you have no idea, because I have buddies that are actual agents, like NIL agents and NFL agents. They do both now. And there's guys that have been interested in Miami that I've known like even way beforehand. And sometimes Miami even passes on them, like some really talented guys, or there's some that have actually come through. Like I'll say right now, people were shocked, like the day that Javion Cohen entered the transfer portal, like 2 years ago. I immediately said, as soon as it happened, I said, I expect him to end up at Miami. That's because I knew I had an in that like that guy, he wanted to go to Miami. Like some of these guys already know where they're going before they even hit the portal. That's the reality.
And I think that's the smart thing. If you're really a smart player, you should know
why you
at
got
least.
An agent. It's the same thing like with the coaching searches. So like for example, you see how Al Golden, former Miami Hurricanes head coach, is defensive coordinator for Notre Dame in the national championship and whatnot. And as soon as the game ends, Cincinnati Bengals are set to hire Al Golden as their defensive coordinator. Mike, that was all done through his agent for weeks.
Yeah.
They were having those conversations. That's what happens with the players now.
Yeah, I agree. And for teams, I mean, it sounds like a biatch move, to be honest with you, like Wisconsin, what they're doing. They're like, well, everybody tampers.
Yeah, well, people. Here's what I'm curious about, because I do know on very good authority that when Miami does leave the ACC at some point, because the ACC is going to crumble as a conference. If people haven't realized that yet, they will soon. It's going to become the next Pac-12. I have it on good authority for some time now that the likelihood landing spot for Miami would be the Big Ten. Now, after this, I mean, I don't know.
Hey, but you know what? Money talks, man.
Yeah.
Money talk. And Miami is a national brand that's going to bring a lot of oomph and flavor to that conference. So I ain't worried about that. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. I do want to ask you before I let you go, just some recruiting news. Everybody's talking about Derek Cooper. I know it looks like we're good with him. Do you think Miami would actually, I can't see Mario letting a player play both ways. I think he's the type of guy that said, we'll play you at the best one you're at, and which could lose him as a recruit. I just can't see a Mario playing a player both ways.
I know the way Miami has handled some of those situations since Mario has become the head coach at Miami. For the most part, it's basically, we'll figure it out once they're here. Like, they've done it with a few guys that we're sure if maybe it'd be on the offensive side or the defensive side. I think that's the approach that they'll take in terms of Cooper. He could play running back at a very high level. He could play safety at a very high level. I just find it very hard. Like, here's my thing. When you're a running back, you are taking so many hits. And then as a safety, you're coming downhill to deliver hits. How is the body truly going to hold up over time? That's two positions that is taking a lot of hits or is dishing out a lot of hits in the game. So as one thing is Travis Hunter playing wide receiver and cornerback. Like, wide receivers, they don't get hit all game. They may get hit a couple times. They'll make some guys miss and don't get hit. Cornerbacks, they don't tackle that often. Maybe when a player gets out to the perimeter, but for the most part, you're not tackling 24/7 as a cornerback. So I feel it's easier to be a dual athlete, like playing offense and defense when you're a wide receiver and cornerback rather than a running back and safety. That's just physicality of the game.
You would imagine if he has good people around him, they would tell him that. They were like, this is actually a dumb move to play both in college.
Well, here's the thing, Mike. I know this from just the South Florida culture and whatnot. There are actual coaches that tell some of these kids, hey, I think your money position is this. You should be playing this position. And some of these kids, it'll go through one ear and out the other. I'm just saying Miami had a guy like that on the roster for a few years when Mario arrived here, that now he's playing a different position in the NFL.
James Williams. Yeah, he should have been playing linebacker all the time. 100%. Yeah. But what I'm saying is that's out of position. This dude probably can play both positions, but if I was his agent, I was like, yo, you need to pick one, because running backs average about 2.5 years in the NFL, unless you're exceptional. And you're going to be taking hits for a full game. That's not good on your body. You may be broke before you even get into the NFL, your body. You need to pick one. Like, hopefully he has people around him that says this ego, I want to play both ways, blah, 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 goes away, because the positions you're playing is not good to go both ways.
Yeah, and running back and safety, I don't think that's a good combo. I think it's easier to get by as a wide receiver and cornerback.
Yeah, because cornerbacks don't hit. We all know that. They don't hit. All right, Gio, tell people about your podcast and what else you got going on.
Yeah, definitely. So had some personal things going on and whatnot, but we're coming back on live this week at whowantssmoke_Inc. on YouTube. You can also find us on X all the time. There's a live broadcast that pops up every single time we're live on my X page at Gio Milon, Geomilian, N as in Nancy.
In Discord, right?
Oh yeah, the private Discord as well, actually.
Private Discord, and that's blowing up as well, man. Hey, so just plan it 2026 when Miami kicks off against Utah. I'm gonna throw a big party because I live out here. So you better make it out,
right?
and I'll put it together with you. We'll put it together.
Definitely.
Yeah, bro. Hey, it's always good to see you, man, and have a great one. All right.
Thank you, Mike. Take care.
All right. Gio Milon, make sure you check him out. And also, if you, let me change the framing here. I forgot I got to change the framing. Now, also, if you're in Toledo, Ohio, I will be there this Friday and Saturday performing. Yes, I will be in 9-degree weather with you. Come on out to the shows. Thanks for watching Comics on Canes. Later. Gio!